Today, thousands and thousands of Africans and many countries in Africa have conflicts. Notably, from Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Biafra, and Boko Haram, to Democratic Republic of Congo, of where we have seen a resurgence of the past military and conflicts coming back in that country. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been displaced, killed, maimed, tortured, raped, several of them dying of hunger, starvation, and other natural causes. The fighting seems not to be ending. For the sake of Libya, the Libyan recognized international government is under siege in Tripoli from another faction recognized by Egypt, France, UAE, and other countries. Whereas the one in Tripoli is recognized by the UN, it has been bombarded, has been strangulated, and many millions of Libyans are dying of hunger, lack of water. The water system has been cut off. The bombardment goes on. In Democratic Republic of Congo, we've seen more of active rebel activities returning to the region after some silence has been observed. When we come to Cameroon, we see millions and millions of Amazonians slaughtered. Yet, when you come to Biafra, again millions and hundreds of millions and millions are worried, displaced, tortured by the Buhari regime. Yet again in the north, we see Boko Haram killing, maiming, abducting, and burning down villages in the same Nigeria. When you cross over to Central African Republic, the same is the history that has littered Africa. While all these events are taking shape, Africa is silent. Africa is not making enough efforts to find a solution to what is causing the problems in Libya, in DRC, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, Biafra, and now you add in Khartoum, Sudan. As people die, the people of Africa have no answers, have no solutions. There is nothing to bring an end to the conflicts that have killed Africa. We seem to be new ones manufactured, old ones reignited, encouragement coming from external powers. One power that has been seen in the shadows of all these conflicts, especially the one of Libya that has escalated in the Sahara region of Africa, is France. When you come to Democratic Republic of Congo, the same country is in the shadows. The war can be seen is France. When you come to Cameroon, in Amazonia, the one behind that has the key to bringing peace is France. Therefore, our question as Africans, why are we silent? Why are we not saying enough is enough of the wars? Thank you. in Africa, we see a lot of uprisings, planning for uprisings, plotting for uprisings in several African countries. The events on the African continent, therefore, as predicted much earlier myself, in 2017, I said, before 2020, 13 African countries would have undergone either soft regime change, soft coups, or violent regime change through uprising, which now seem to be real. The signs that and the symbols that we see are the real symbols and the signs that more is to come against African governments. What do we do then? There is a new method of changing governments strategically placed in the United States of America by George Soros. George Soros funds civil societies, civil disobedience, civil violence in Africa. It is upon you Africans and African heads of state, wherever you were, as you plan to convene next month or before the end of this month in Addis Ababa, to understand the magnitude of this regime change strategy. Many wars are taking place, internal strife, conflicts like the one in Cameroon, Amazonia, like the one in Biafra, Boko Haram, and then in Biafra, like the one in Libya. But the theme is the same. Regime change, uprising. Is it a matter of taking over our resources? You see, the war in Congo has erupted again. Unknown militias have arrived in Congo, restarted the war, and it is going on. All these culminate to one thing. Are we ready to be independent? As I said last week, this week, are people in Africa ready to accept the results of elections? Elections everywhere in Africa are bringing the chaos we see. The people of Africa seem to be divided after elections or before elections. Is Africa ready for elections? Do we need elections in Africa? If so, are we tolerant enough to accept results? Are we ready? Which method can we use in Africa to make sure that there is hope for the countries and there is hope and the future of Africa is guaranteed? Viewers, the High Court in Malawi today or yesterday was hearing a case when the president had already been sworn in. If the president of Malawi has been sworn in, then the High Court is hearing the case. Is that not a disaster, an accident in waiting? Whether this will make us have a peaceful Africa remains to be seen. And may God help us to build a better Africa. Thank you very much. Viewers, those listening to this tape or this video, I want to bring to your attention that the politics of proxy wars in Africa is becoming real, and it has become a reality. I want to bring to this the attention of the African states that time and time again we have fallen victims of proxy wars. We fight wars that are not ours. We fall in conflicts that are not supposed to be, don't help Africa, and they don't help our countries at all. The proxy war that is in East and Central and the Horn of Africa has been ignited, supported, equipped by France. It has been very real that the French government, quietly through its company called Total Oil, has been searching for resources around the triangle of East and Central Africa and Great Lakes region and the Horn of Africa. The LAPSET was one of them, which could have been a landmark project for the people of France. They withdrew from it. The Tanga to Mwanza, they made it, they withdrew from it. The search for oil and resources through Total Oil has brought us the dangers of a proxy war in the region. It is therefore very prudent for people of the region to understand the dynamics that we are going through. For example, in Rwanda and the Burundi conflict, there is a proxy war. We are fighting a proxy country. It has brought us to a war between the two countries, between Uganda and Rwanda and Burundi. There is a proxy war in Congo who is sponsoring a resurgence of rebels that are fighting President Tshisekedi because he was not supported by countries that we know very well. This type of strategy has happened in North Africa, where Libya has been reduced to rebels, where each faction, even the government supported by United Nations, is being bombarded by a rebel called Khalifa Haftar, who is funded by countries that we know. The question of Somalia and the Kenyan maritime presents a challenge, a testy case for Africa and East Africa to stand firm and denounce the actions of countries that bring proxy wars and proxy politics in our region. It is therefore my humble submission that for this conflict, for this to end, we must do enough publicity, advocacy around the area to tell and explain to the international community why this problem is going to create an imbalance in the peace in the region, and the regional peace will be affected. It is therefore my humble submission that as a Ugandan whose troops, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers of other many millions Ugandans who are in Somalia, condemn any action by the Somali government to try to resolve issues that should have been resolved amicably as Africans within the African confines. I submit therefore that some of us will go a mile further to do now, from now onwards, to expose, to show the challenges of these countries that make us fight a proxy war in Africa. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you. Our television station gives people to explain their problems, their difficulties, their information. If they need more information, we shall refer them to where they should get it.
We embrace dialogue, dialogue, and dialogue.
We want to exchange views, go deeper, advise where possible. Tell the world what is going on. Why is it that tactics have changed from removing governments militarily to removing governments through regime change tactics?
The issues here sometimes are elections in Africa. We as Kenyans or we as Africans view it as elections, but the foreign powers are viewing it as an entry strategy to enter into our affairs and get control of our resources and on the way we actually rule ourselves.
At the end of the day, I think it's just the greed of power that is bringing all these problems, even the Western influence that you're talking about, because you cannot accept to be used by Western powers unless there is a reason, and the reason is that you want to get power through any means, even if it means bringing a country or a nation down to its knees.
It is very shameful today for an African country to go and beg money for elections in its own country. It is very shameful. And then tomorrow you ask for the same people. Why are they asking for the record of your elections? Look at that. Kenyans, unite. And institutions in the world that don't benefit Kenyans, why do you keep yourself in them? There are those who think that with ICC gone away, we shall lack justice in Africa. No. Has justice not been there in Africa before? It has. Some people want to silence people. We are not going to keep quiet. France, watch your steps in Africa. You are dividing people in the African Union. If countries don't tell you, I am an individual, I've told you. The president, Salva Kiir, is the president of Republic of South Sudan.
So that should be
Dr.
respected.
Riek Machar, before he left,
was the vice
president.
So
therefore the two
should
must
come
now
down.
avoid these blue-suited men and talk for the sake of their country.
Correct.
Yes. Fellow Africans, since 1957, when Ghana gained independence, there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. Starvation has taken the place of development. In most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and the north of Nigeria there is Boko Haram, Somalia in the Horn of East Africa. We have taken to conflicts instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically, he was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and Nasser, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo today, as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the rebels vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not the Africa we want to live for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, the uprisings in Algeria, all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you.
Hello? According to our constitution, the office of the Deputy President is meant to be the President's workshop. It is meant to be the Principal Assistant's office, meaning that all the heavy lifting is expected to occur here. Like Joshua in the Bible, the Principal Assistant is meant to be a problem solver to the President and not a problem to the President. This office is meant to lighten the burden of the President and to ease the yoke he carries. It is meant to be a workshop where ideas are tested and innovations are incubated. It is also the President's last line of defense administratively. If office of the Deputy President is a workshop, the person who holds this office must bear certain characteristics. This person cannot be a competitor to the President. They have to complement the President. The person has to be a co-worker and a co-creator with the President. And following intense consultations, we have decided that the holder of this office has to be a woman. Hello? Hello? I will continue. After 60 years of independence, we cannot be the male domination. We cannot excuse the male domination of the executive. For the first time in the history of our republic, and on the 7th multi-party election, history is calling us to close the gender gap in our country. History is calling on us to reciprocate the struggles and fidelity of our women. History is calling on us to produce our first woman deputy president. Hello? Tafadhali, kimya. Tafadhali vijana. Vijana hoi. Mamama hai. Tunaendelea. And I now want to describe to you the person. At the age of 24, this woman was appointed a magistrate to adjudicate on matters of men. A few years later, she became the youngest woman to be elected a member of parliament in central Kenya. And she went on to serve in the capacity for 20 years. Of these 20 years, she was a cabinet minister for 6 years, serving in different portfolios. The woman we offer as the proposed deputy president is also known to have incredible credentials in the fight for our second liberation.
very good morning to you, and thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. The show is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and it's just about 34 minutes past 10 a.m. here in Nairobi. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you tuned in. Of course, what was playing there earlier was the event yesterday of the unveiling of the Azimio la Umoja running mate there, which now we know is Martha Karua, and we shall continue with that conversation as it is one of the main headlines on the leading newspapers this morning. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you're watching us from. We start with the Standard newspaper, the main headline, Rise of the Iron Lady. That is the main headline. And then Kalonzo's big U-turn in State House race after vowing to support Raila Odinga. Many times, Wiper leader opts out of Azimio and names Andrew Sunkuli as running mate. The story is on page 13. Revealed bank executives to earn 30 million Kenya shillings monthly. The strong performance by Kenya's leading banks last year saw managers get pay increases as most exceeded their target. That story is on page 3. Kindiki still backs UDA but quits politics. That is on page 12. Court orders lawyers to produce girl in 108 million Kenya shillings transaction. The story is on page 24. And then the Star newspaper, Raila bets big on Mount Kenya. Women vote. Former PM resists pressure from Kalonzo to be named second in command. The story is on page 4 and 5. Kalonzo ditches Azimio to go it alone. That is on page 6. And then Clark CLI security laws bill chaos, my lowest moment. That is on page 3. Karua DP pick a moment for women. I'll be diligent. That is on page 2. And then we go to the Daily Nation, the main headline, Strength of a Woman. That is on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And a special coverage of that decision that was made yesterday by Azimio Coalition. And a sweet victory for man who sued to get back bride price. It was just 3 cows and a goat, but 52-year-old Wilberforce Murunga of Kitale, the right to have them back after his marriage with his wife hit the rocks meant closure. This precedented setting case could, however, have wide-ranging implications on how future disputes between spouses are resolved. The story is on page 12. And Me Too, Kalonzo's last-minute entry to presidential race. And Mohamud re-elected Somali's president. That is on page 23. So that is what we have on the leading newspapers in the country this morning. Let me see if I do have some from across the continent of Africa. Yes, I do. And we start with the New Day from Zimbabwe. Ex-UK envoy roasted over ED links. We have then Robert Mugabe Jr. hospitalized. And then the Daily News still from Zimbabwe. Gumbo leans on AD and Chamisa, says it's not too late for the two to talk in Zimbabwe's interest. And then the Guardian from, where is this from? From Tanzania. Speaker stays 19 MP status, courts to hear expulsion case. AFDB disperses 289.3 billion for 3 districts water projects. Administer hands PORALG queries by CAG to PCCB. And then Zanzibar to oversee seaweed farming. Then we move on to the Citizen still from Tanzania. NEMC defense pipeline project against smears. CRDB Bank shareholders await record 58 billion Tanzania shillings dividend and respite for MPs expelled from Chadema as the High Court rules in their favor, and over 40 French firms to invest in Tanzania. Okay, so this diplomatic shuttle diplomacy the president has been making has begun to bear fruits there in Tanzania. Way to go, President Samia Suluhu. The Guardian from Nigeria, federal government faces tough choices to stabilize economy as inflation bites harder. That is what we see then. 80 million Nigerians living with hypertension, 26.7 million receiving treatment. And then on The Nation, still from Nigeria, EFCC arrests federal government's top accountant over 8 billion naira fraud. And then the Punch, still from Nigeria, INEC talks tough as 18 parties fail to conduct primaries. That is the electoral body of Nigeria. And then the Daily Telegraph from the UK. Bank chief food price rises will be apocalyptic. That is what we have. And then the Guardian, still from the UK. Alam as prevent report urges change in focus, and then bank chiefs warning over apocalyptic food prices. Putin taking hands-on tactical role in Ukraine. And then the Daily Monitor from Uganda, UNRWA loses billions in flawed contracts and deals at NSSF, FAO, Total Energies, BO, UNHCR, and the rest, etc. So that is contained inside the paper. And then our cash handouts, the answer to poverty. That is a good conversation that you'll find on the Daily Monitor. We know in Kenya we are in the season of handouts because that's what the politicians do during the campaigns. But is it the solution to poverty? A very critical question there. Former Al-Qaeda suspect charged over ADF links. That is the main headline on the New Vision, also from Uganda. So that is what we have in Kenya, and some of the papers from African, others from outside, and in particular from the UK. Thank you so much, and a very good morning to you. And I'm joined this morning by Gladwell Kiragu. Gladwell, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam. A very good morning to our viewers.
And I know you're very happy.
Yes, I'm very happy.
And could you express to our viewers why?
Yes, I'm very happy because for once we can see women leading, as I always told Doc. I hope he doesn't hear me. You know, our Martha Karua, him being the hopingly they win the election coming August. She'll be the first the deputy president of Kenya as a woman. So that's a win for us women. And I think it's high time us women to start embracing, cheering up for other women and stop this old slogan of aduya mwanamke ni mwanamke. I think we should now start doing away with that. So I'm very happy, Miriam.
And it's not just you, I think women across the country. I was shocked because for me, I didn't think that gender was something that we had on the table as far as the issues that you were going to vote for were concerned. I think for me, I was looking at the candidates who will address the issue of education, especially in public education, how to make it more affordable, how to make it more accessible, and how to make it more quality for the majority of the children of this country, and also the person who will address the issues to do with healthcare and make sure it is affordable, it is accessible, and, you know, things like that. And somebody who has an agenda to fight corruption, to improve, continue improving on the infrastructure, somebody who had plans to make sure that Kenya was food secure. Like me, those are the issues I was looking at, and looking at the candidates and seeing who is able to address these very urgent and immediate issues that Kenyans are facing right now. And I think gender for me was not really on the table as per se. But I was shocked because after work I called my mother, but we were talking about other issues totally unrelated to politics. But that is what she really wanted to talk about, and she was very excited. And she said all along she was rooting for Martha Karua. Now, mind you, she's right in the heart of the village somewhere there. In the village, and she's saying the women there in the village were very, very happy that for the first time we are having a woman on a leading coalition that possibly could lead, could form the government after the next elections. We know we have two front runners in this election, and that is the truth. That will be Azimio la Umoja and Kenya Kwanza, and maybe, I don't know if at all anybody else will come up, and we'll look at Kalonzo in a short bit. And so she said this is a victory to women, and she was not just excited that Martha Karua was given that ticket, but she actually supported her reasons as to why she feels Martha Karua was the right choice. And she gave me she really analyzed the situation for me, and I was really, really shocked. You know, that is an old lady from Hukokwa village. So it's really interesting. I did not expect that. So a bit shocking, but indeed it is a win for women. But also Martha Karua has her own merit to be looked at outside of her just being a woman and the things she has done, and her, you know, her record speaks for itself. So also that is what we should be really, really paying attention to. But I agree with you, it's a big win for the women as far as politics is concerned. And so, okay, so let's just get into it. And of course, this is a story that has been covered by all leading newspapers this morning. And I'd like for us to just look at how the Standard newspaper has covered this story. And Azimio la Umoja coalition leader Raila Odinga made history yesterday after naming NARC Kenya leader Martha Karua as his running mate. Raila said Karua will also be cabinet secretary for justice and constitutional affairs should they win the August 9th elections. A win from the two would make Karua Kenya's the first woman deputy president. The NARC Kenya leader nomination to the running mate position is seen as a milestone in the drive for gender equality in representation. Women make up to 21% of members of the National Assembly and 30% in the Senate. What was expected to be Raila's short announcement at KICC in Nairobi ended up being a political fiesta punctuated with music and jubilation from Azimio supporters. So it was really, I don't know if you look at the announcement yesterday. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the announcement that Kenya Kwanza also made on Sunday. How does those two events compare?
Miriam, that's a debate that is ongoing in all social media platforms. You know, the UDA side, they just left the country to tension with the running mate announcing. They didn't announce it, so it was like a kind of tensed, and everybody was waiting to hear. And when Ruto announced his running mate, people were disappointed with his choice. But yesterday when Raila announced, there was jubilation. I mean, personally, I never expected Martha Karua to be, but again, when she was announced, you could see the jubilation. People were happy, and more so women. Compared to the two events, I think the Azimio side took the crown yesterday. I mean, it was a very colorful ceremony. People were happy. The choice that Raila chose, it was a very impressive one, more so for the women. And again, Miriam, when you look at Martha Karua in person, not only is she a woman, but you also know her traits. As you've said, her records speak for herself, the credibility, a tough woman, the iron lady herself, and a no-nonsense woman. So I think if they form the government, I think in Kenya, some of these things like corruption will be a thing of the past to the country. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. While the rest of the supporters of Azimio are celebrating across, the country, maybe just a quick background information about Martha Wangari Karua before we get to Kalonzo, who was not a very happy person yesterday, and also his supporters were really disappointed, and even some of them held protest, protesting against that decision by Raila Odinga to choose Martha Karua instead of having Kalonzo Musyoka as his running mate. But just a bit of some background information here that I see on the Star newspaper. She was born on the 22nd of September 1957 in Kirinyaga, and between 1977 to 1980 she attended University of Nairobi. 1980 to 1981, Kenya School of Law. She is a mother of two. And in 1981 to 87, she was a magistrate at Makadara, Nakuru, and Kibera courts. And 1987 to 2002, she formed Martha Karua and Company Advocates, and 1991 recognized as a human rights monitor by Human Rights Watch. 1992 joined the Democratic Party of Kenya, DP. 93 elected as the Democratic Party's Legal Affairs Secretary. 1992 to 2013 she was the Gishugu Member of Parliament, and in 1995 she was awarded by FIDA for advancing the cause of women, and in 1998 she declined the position of Shadow Minister for Culture and Social Services. Look at that. And I think these are just some of the things that people, have so much respect for her. She's a person who's willing to take a stand, and it does not matter whether she's left there by herself or not, but she will take a stand, she will pick a fight, and she will see through, whatever it is that she believes in. So she declined the position of the Shadow Minister for Culture and Social Services. That was in 1998, I believe, in Moi's administration. And in 1999, she was awarded Legal Practitioner's Due Diligence Award by LSK. And then 2003 and 2005, she was the Minister for Water, Resources Management and Development. And in 2005 to 2009, she was the Minister for Justice, National Cohesion and Constitutional Affairs. And in 2008, she divorced Justice GBM Karaoke. All right, in case you don't know, that is her ex-husband, okay? She was divorced there in 2008, and in 2008 still, she was elected NARC Kenya chairperson. In 2009, resigned as Justice Minister. We also saw that made a lot of headlines. And in 2013, ran for president on NARC Kenya ticket. 2017, ran for Kirinyaga governor seat, lost to Anne Waiguru. That case was protracted. She went and challenged, those results up to, I think, the East African Court of Justice or something, and then elected interim Mount Kenya Unity Forum spokesperson in 2021, and now yesterday she was named the running mate for Azimio flag bearer Raila Odinga. So it's interesting. She has been quite present, and you can trace way back, her history. So when you look at the peak for Martha Karua, Gladwell, and then you look at Gachagua on the other side also as the flag bearer, how do these two compare, and what are they bringing to the table, and what value are they adding to their presidential candidates?
Miriam, to be honest, you've read a very good history of Martha Karua, and you see she has been in leadership for that quite long. But let's look at somebody like Rigathi Gachagua. I think he has only been in power, for 2 terms, if I'm not wrong. I think he has only served for 2 terms, if I'm not wrong. So I don't think there's a way you can compare those two. I don't think so. Again, with what they will bring to the table, there's something I want to say, and I think I've been saying it here. I always say never undermine the Mount Kenya people. Never undermine the Mount Kenya people. As I always said, vitu kwa ground, there's very different. Things on the ground are very different. Miriam, I took a survey all along, and I can tell you that, yes, the name UDA was being chanted, the name Ruto. But I ask again and again, will people wake up to vote? No. In Mount Kenya, no. But now they have a reason to vote because of Martha Karua. And again, when I was going through the social media, those people who are the diehard fans of Ruto, now they have now switched to Azimio. A reason being, if Ruto chose Kindiki, he would be more, at least he would be more better. But Rigathi, for Christ's sake, I don't think there's something he can bring to the table. The only thing Rigathi knows is just how to mobilize only. That is what is just good in mobilizing the people, nothing else. But when it comes to leadership, I doubt, no, he doesn't have the qualities of being a top leader. But what of Martha Karua? Martha Karua, Miriam, if you know for her from the past, if something I know you do, she's a no-nonsense woman. And Martha Karua just always speaks her mind out. Whether you're right, whomever you are, she just say, no, this is wrong, this is right. So when we look at the two, Martha Karua, when she, for example, if they get the position of being a president and the deputy president, I'm sure, and I'm telling you, Miriam, Kenya will change. Because Martha Karua, if she has set, if you can see her record, she doesn't have a case of corruption anywhere. We've never heard of any. So what happens when she gets into position, Miriam? We can't expect that she will change. No, she won't change. Because if she would have swayed a long time ago, but she didn't. She has always maintained her stand. So what I'm trying to say is that coming August, if they manage to win the election, what I'm saying is that we have a new face of Kenya, the Kenya we've always been wanting. And I hope so that it comes to pass.
Okay, thank you so much, Gladwell. And of course, at this point, we are joined by Dr. David Matanga. Doctor, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Miriam. Thank you very much. Good morning, Gladwell, Kiragu. And I am happy to see you here again after a few days. And I hope God will get us where we are. I pray for you. So thank you very much, Gladwell and Miriam.
Mm-hmm. So we were just... Go ahead.
Yeah, you have made very good points. And on Martha Karua, I came into contact with Martha Karua in 1985-86 when I was working as a clerical officer to Mr. Wetangula and the Simiyu advocates on Standard Building. You remember Standard Building? There's a Standard Building. Wetangula had a powerful law firm there. And Martha Karua, Kioko, not Kioko, there is a powerful law guy who you from Siaya, a very great friend of mine who has passed away, and the wife is now the senator for Siaya. Miriam should know that family. Ombaka. Ombaka.
Okay.
Ombaka.
Okay.
And that was.
I know okay. Yes.
Ombaka, the other name?
Okay.
Okay, Ombaka. No, not okay. It's Ombaka, the lawyer, the powerful lawyer man who...
Yes, his other name is Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And I thought he comes maybe from your game, or those are the most powerful guys there around that area. Ombaka was my friend, and Serena used to be our point down near the swimming pool. And that's where we used to go and meet to plot on how to overthrow Moi. But Miriam, I want to tell you, this woman is a strong woman, very strong woman. She used to come in the evening. We used to meet around there with Job Omino. Yes. Another gentleman, very senior, late Job Omino. And we used to meet down there and talk about so many things. Special branch would harass us. So one night, one evening, we are locking the office, and I was following to go and meet Wetangula. And to follow Wetangula, by then there were no mobile phones. And as we were locking the office, Martha had come to meet Moses Wetangula on a matter of legal matters and so on and so forth. My sisters, about 10 special branch, they came and said, where is Moses? And where the meeting has been taking place here, Martha was here. And luckily enough, Martha had passed through another door. There was that Standard Building where Wetangula had an office where you could pass without coming to the reception. They had gone. So they found me and Simiyu. We were the last. Simiyu, the brother of SL, Simiyu, the MP of Tongaren, the bigger brother, who is in South Africa at the moment. And let me tell you, Miriam, and gradually, it was a bad story. Do you know where we ended? The special branch said, oh, they have gone. Okay, well, do you know where they have gone? We don't know. So, but what is your name? Oh, Matanga. Allah, we are looking for you. We have been looking for you for a long time. So you hide here. Chup. Shika twende. Surali nyuma. Simiyu twende. Kumbe, Mr. Wetangula had stolen a land title, or was given a land title of another businessman to keep it. Those days, lawyers used to keep land titles for their clients. And this guy took the land title to the bank, Miriam, and got money out of the bank. So this man is related to Moi from Trans Nzoia. He went and accused the law firm. So these guys, about 20 of them with their Mercedes-Benz 200. There used to be Mercedes-Benz 200 that used to carry. If you see Mercedes-Benz 200, you know that special branch, you are gone now. That's how I knew Martha. I started knowing her. Later on, in 2002, I was passing by here. I was now in London, came back by Sky News. In 2000 and Girongo, during Girongo, not Girongo, during Githongo, yes, the corruption cases of Githongo.
is again when I met Martha Karua face to face. When Mukyuki called me with my company, I was recommended that I can now do a media publicity against Githongo in London. I flew into Nairobi and I went to another office in Westlands to meet the minister's team under Kibaki. I met Kibaki. The first time, he didn't talk much, but Martha was the one talking. Martha looked at me and said, can you display what you have done? I had gathered a lot of, I started this thing of media, long time media, but I had gathered a lot of clips here on the Githongo. I had known where Githongo lives in London, which place, how he's going to do it. I called Githongo on the Sky News that we can be interviewed. Githongo and Clay, the general manager, the former ambassador, come for this. I initiated it in Sky News. I picked the eye of the Ministry of Interior here in Kenya and the Minister of Constitutional Affairs. So that's how I met Martha Karua again. And at that time, they gave me the media approach against Mr. Githongo. And I went back to Sky News and you remember I publicized lots of documents and talk about Sky News. I think, Miriam, I have now recovered my clips, all of them. I'm looking for Stephen. I've told him to look for a machine. We shall buy a machine which will do all the clips, the 240 hours that I was on Sky News. That will be showing it to the world. Because when you talk, some people say, was he on Sky News? So the clips don't lie. So here we are, Miriam. Martha Karua is the best choice. A new era in Kenyan politics. I agree with you all that women, even Rachel, will vote quietly because the vote is private. But I'm telling you, if it is going for presidency, Rachel Ruto will vote quietly and come back and smile with the husband. People are gonna vote. The type of celebrations that I've seen across the country, the type of sentiments coming out. Of course, there are some 1, 2, 3 negative. That's okay. It's a democracy. But the type worldwide, what I've seen, even in people, countries from South Africa, from where people are lauding the position. Because Raila's ticket is the nearest to presidency than Ruto's ticket. Tuambiane ukweli hapa jamani. Raila's ticket is near. If you are Raila's deputy, you are close to presidency. Because Raila will want to go 1 term. Ruto will want to go 2 terms full before you touch power. So the haggling is over. Now is the time for Jubilee, ODM, affiliated parties to go and campaign. Miriam, my story of Kalonzo is very interesting this morning, and you know, for me, being an investigative journalist, I've gone deeper and I found out something that can shock your heart. But let's leave it for now. Kalonzo has committed fraud. You can't register. You know, did you know that the time of registration passed? Did you know?
Yeah, we know.
It passed. Everything passed. So this is, you know, Kalonzo is being pushed by greedy lawyers who are picking Ruto's money. Greedy people like Wambua. Wambua is a very bad person. From being in the newspapers in the Nation and the Standard, Wambua made me to go to jail because of ICC. I swear you people Kenyans, bear with me. God help me. Wambua wrote a story saying that I had interfered with witness OTP number 4. With Macau Mutua, they took me to jail almost. I was arrested for 3 days, going to be jailed. And if I had not given my defense properly, how I got that information, William, I would be serving 40 years today. That is Wambua, that man you see there. So he's picking money at night from Ruto. They go and enjoy with Sakaja and the rest. They say there is money this side. These are younger, childish people. These are childish. These are young. Ruto, Kalonzo. You don't listen to other editors and you just do things like you are doing things to please younger boys who are pushing you towards your oblivion. Yes. Believe me or not, we have been told not to hammer Kalonzo too much because he's coming back.
But nevertheless, it's still a story that is trending and it's on the headlines, so we have to look at what at least all the papers say about this whole thing. And now we know that Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka faces legal hurdles in his quest to be included in the race to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta. On Monday, Kalonzo announced he had defected from the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition after missing out on the running mate slot. The Wiper leader further announced he will contest for the presidency and even named Andrew Leteipa Ole Sunkuli as his running mate. Kalonzo indicated he decided to jump ship after being shortchanged in Azimio by the deal signed by Azimio parties on March 12th at the Kenyatta International Convention Center locked the partners in the coalition until 3 months after elections. It means the 23 parties constituting the outfit don't have the luxury of leaving the coalition at the moment in case of any disagreements. The provision in the coalition agreement deposited with the Registrar of Political Parties also binds the partner without an option of bolting out 6 months before the polls. Kalonzo will therefore be heading to the court seeking to nullify the agreement in order to pave way for him to vie for the presidency. The party's lawyer and Makueni MP Dan Maanzo said they unanimously agree that Kalonzo should exit from the coalition. The agreement of Azimio One Kenya has legal issues and we are approaching the High Court for guidance to prove the current agreement is illegal and constitutional, Manzo said during an interview on Citizen TV. And that, be it as it may, Dog, the time for independent candidates to register, or even just anybody to offer their name as a presidential candidate has passed. The deadline was yesterday. So how will Kalonzo get reprieve if at all he's actually serious with going on and being a presidential candidate, looking at the legal hurdles?
That's why I'm telling you Kalonzo is a liar. Very big liar. He hasn't filed those papers. You Kenyans, what is wrong with you?
So it was just a circus?
Yes!
Because he knows it's his time barred.
No, there is no paper there.
What was he doing yesterday?
Miriam, Gladwell, I am a dangerous investigative man. There are no papers there. It's a shame that a man of this caliber, this status, reaches that end angle. There are no papers. You can't give Sankuli a Wiper paper, which is already signed somewhere, a certificate. This is fraud. This is fake news.
Because Wiper already signed to support Raila.
There is no paper of Kalonzo in IEBC.
So
IEBC cannot clear Kalonzo. He can't dare to take a document there.
So that was just gymnastics yesterday that we've been treated to.
You just tell the truth that way. It's gymnastics. There are no papers there. I've found out inside, and don't ask me how, but this is stupid. And I'm breaking news to Kenyans today. Kalonzo, if there is anywhere where Kalonzo submitted and he was given a stamp by the IEBC, let him show us. Kalonzo has not submitted any papers for presidency. Kalonzo has asked for 10 days to think about the post of chief minister. Miriam, are you with me?
The chief minister,
Kalonzo,
yeah, he was offered, but that is not captured in the constitution. So Makwene
and that's why,
saying that is hot
did
air.
you see anybody on that rally condemn Kalonzo? Did you see?
He was even offered the position. So
no, did you see anybody condemn Kalonzo? Kalonzo is my friend, and I know I wrote to him a letter and it sank so well, and it gave him some light. I warned him that this younger man will take you down. Kalonzo is lying to Kenyans. He hasn't submitted any document to the IEBC. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. And it appears
Miriam.
Yes, go ahead.
Miriam, before you go on, I support Doc. Yesterday, somebody said the same to somebody in the government, the top government, said the same to that Kalonzo, what he's saying and what Miriam will say that he has to stop doing. He's playing the cat and mouse game again. And after 10 days, or after maybe some few days, he'll just come out and say that he's comfortable with the seat he was offered. Him being a watermelon, and also now he has joined another game of the cat and mouse, Harry, Tom, Dick, and yeah, so that is what he's doing, just playing around with people's mind. And I can tell you that it is true, Kalonzo hasn't submitted the papers. He's just playing around with people's mind.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And
can Jeff create that story? It will be breaking news in the whole world, I swear. Kalonzo's documents in IEBC are missing. There is nothing there. And if so, we want IEBC to say we received, surely illegally, that IEBC said it received Kalonzo's documents. When? And the IEBC...
And I think that should be a matter of public record. If you Google through IEBC's website, I think that is something that we could get from there if at all he submitted.
Go and see.
Yes.
How many candidates have offered? Kalonzo's name is not in there.
Mm-hmm. And before that announcement yesterday, there were serious attempts to try to convince him to be a part of this new composition, and it emerged. The first meeting attended by President Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila and Kalonzo and KANU chairperson Gideon Moi was held at State House in Nairobi on Sunday. It was chaired by the president himself. The meeting that started at around 6 p.m. ended at 10 p.m. At the meeting, Kalonzo was promised a chief minister position and a handsome share of the government. And with the State House talks ending in disarray, Raila alongside Gideon trooped to Kalonzo's residence. After the meeting in State House that ended at 10, they did not agree. Raila again with Gideon Moi left again and followed Kalonzo to his residence in Karen and persuaded him to accept the position again. The meeting ended without a deal being struck. Yesterday morning, now on Monday, Raila went back to Kalonzo's place to further the talks in what appear to be desperate efforts to secure the backing of the Ukambani kingpin. Once again, the Wiper leader rejected. So they really, really tried, as they have been trying all this while, especially President Uhuru Kenyatta, to have Kalonzo on board, but keeping him on board and sustaining him has been a challenge. And so Kalonzo made up his mind. But while you were watching, because he chose to make his announcement of running as a president at this very same time that Raila was expected to. In fact, he waited until Raila was at the venue at the KICC. That is when he also went live and started making this announcement. So it's like there was a bit of a competition there. And so major television stations are not really covering his event, because the main event that perhaps people wanted to see was that of the KICC. But nevertheless, he made his announcement. When you looked at his body language and how he was talking and how he was expressing himself, Kalonzo is somebody who usually exudes a lot of confidence and all that. I don't know, what did you see from his demeanor yesterday? I saw a very sad, sort of distraught person from the usual Kalonzo that we've known to see and in public. I don't know what you saw and what his demeanor said about him yesterday.
I just want to tell you, Miriam, that I saw a man not a thief, and not a criminal, but a confused guy.
And unhappy.
Unhappy.
You think he was unhappy with his decision to even do that? I don't know. He was not happy. He was not celebrating that he is a presidential candidate. Because, like you said, maybe because he knows even his papers have not been submitted.
He's not happy because he found out the truth that the agreement that he signed cannot allow him to get out of Azimio.
He's a senior lawyer. He knows that already.
Yeah, he knows, but he knows that's why when you know if you're a senior lecturer in the university and you have made a mistake and misled the students, can you feel happy when you're addressing them the following day?
You correct yourself.
You correct,
To
but
error
this one,
is human. This one,
yes, this one, instead of correcting himself, he went to correct by announcing that Martha has been chosen. You not see that? He's the one who broke the news about Martha before Raila could announce.
He really wanted to steal the moment, which he probably did, but not so much, because I think all the attention was at the KICC.
He can steal the moment from a few individuals in Ukambani. Ukambani vote, we are going to fight for it. I'm telling you. We are going to fight for it. Atapata nusu na sisi tutapata. Hiyo ukweli Mr. Mimi nakubembelesha sana because you have been my friend for a long time. But wewe, you have become azimu sasa. Kalonzo has become a mad guy. Is he on some drugs or something? You know, I've been talking about this drug issue. People take tablets and then come on TV and disturb us.
Let's not make those allegations. But you know, Doc, I think
I'm not putting allegations.
Is a typical Kenyan politician.
I am medium.
Yes.
I am not posing allegations.
We can't accuse him of being on drugs. Because we don't know that for sure, Doc. It can't be.
No, he could be on medical drugs. I'm not saying drugs which are like a Sonkos. Medical drugs which are prescribed by doctor.
I'm taking them.
But Miriam, every time I come there, you
because I do. So I feel like. Okay,
but you are not taking. You are not coming.
Some side effects or something.
You have never come to harass me. You have never come to harass me. No.
Well, I'm about to start. But listen, Doc. Yesterday, the side effects are kicking in. So be prepared.
Miriam, the side effects.
They are kicking in, so be prepared.
Gladwell, can you protect me from Miriam, please? It looks like Miriam protect me. Side effects are kicking. So I should not even come near the headquarters anymore. I better stay here where I am in Mombasa.
But Doc, jokes aside, there's something you've talked about here when it comes to politics and strategy. The timing is really crucial. So, yeah, did he miss the timing or what is it? And
no. He felt so sorry by being misled by the group that misled him. Two, I have told you and I've revealed to you today, the 17th of May 2022, there are no documents of a presidential candidate called Kalonzo in the IEBC. That is a lie. So if they are there, let Kalonzo's lawyers produce them now. And let IEBC come out clean and say we received the documents. They are here. Then they will be taken to court. Wamutata will be at the same time, same minute, Wamutata will file an application.
Because he has not officially exited Azimio.
Yes.
He has to exit, yeah.
This election will come to a null stop. Let them try to include Kalonzo.
But it's
this
interesting. All his key supporters, Mutula, Kalonzo, Mans, and this, they are lawyers who really understand the law, who are part of the drafting of that agreement, who's read through and helped in signing through. But it's like that they act like they don't know what's going on, and they're lawyers. They do understand what a deed of agreement means, and the ramifications of the same.
Lawyers what? Which lawyer? In Kenya, lawyers, it depends. The only man I know as a lawyer is PLO Lumumba and Oraro and Orengo. And Martha Karua.
And Kithure Kindiki.
I know.
Professor.
And Professor...
DP Ruto thanked him so much for saving him from the ICC. Did you not hear that speech on Sunday?
For stealing my money from ICC and leaving him in the hotel Movi. No, and leaving him in the hotel Movi the Peak. Yeah? So I am not stupid. I can't call that one a lawyer. He can't win even a single case of a cat and a rat. But there are lawyers here. Kindiki saved Ruto from what?
That's what Ruto said. You did not hear part of the speech on Sunday?
But Ruto is also on effects of drugs. So what are you talking about? Ako kwa effects ya tablets. Anakunywa matablet. Hey! Aterere. Don't touch me there. You have warned me now. I will not even step near there. Because you have said... Ruto, what Ruto talks is rubbish. In medical terms, what a man like a Kuria talks is rubbish. Kuria is still under medication. I went and investigated his hospital. The hospital gave him to go, but he put him under medication for 6 months. He's still taking tablets. So when you see Moses Kuria telling you something, Mama, don't listen. Kindiki was not even Ruto's lawyer. Kindiki was His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's lawyer. We are in the same group. My dear, Stephen, go to JK Live, Koinange. Talk. What is it called? The talk. At your free time, you will find a CD there. Capital Talk. You will find a CD there where I and Kindiki were being interviewed by Jeff Koinange. Kindiki was not Ruto's lawyer. Kindiki was even learning something from me. I am the one who went and brought the two lawyers, the two white lawyers. Maybe I'm waiting to come here, even if you find come to All Saints Church to pray for me when I'm gone. Well, I'm the one who went and brought the two white men from America, two professors. I brought them to Blackfriars in London, and I called Amina Mohammed and Mutula Kilonzo. They came to London. Mutula Kilonzo almost poured beer on me and said, I'm a busybody. 3 of us, the 2 professors, plus 1 Matanga, we are busybody. We go around the world to defend criminals. I'm now revealing it here. Amina Mohammed, the current CS for sports, was there. She was the PS for Constitutional Affairs after the departure of Martha Karua. Are you looking at me again? Those are facts. So Kindiki did not save Ruto in the ICC. After that, when we came to Nairobi, is when now Kindiki started trying to become one of those. Ogeto was not the president's lawyer. No. The president's lawyer was Onyari. Not even Onyari, not Onyari. There is Oyati. There is Oyati from Busia, whom we are working with. Those were the lawyers of His Excellency and that Muzungu called K. And Kindiki was researching for Oyati. There's another man from Busia, yes. And Oraro was with me, was with us Advocate Oraro was standing in for Major General, one of the Major Generals, that Somali money, what is his name? Another ungrateful guy, what is his name? Hussein Ali? Yes. Was the Inspector General of Police. So I know the history very well, ma'am. The history of ICC. So Ruto, if he has confused himself, is his confusion. So let's proceed. And I tell you what was the point that we are making. Let's not divert the point I was making.
Yes, about this. But also, I think also...
And I want to apologize and ask, please don't come for me.
No, I was just reminding us what Ruto said. He was the one who was really thanking Kindiki for his for helping him at the ICC. That's what Ruto said on Sunday. But anyway, there seems to be some time, about maybe 14 days or so, because IEBC is meant to gazette the final list of all candidates for the August 9th after May 30th. So there still could be some time.
Why do you think? Who is negotiating? Why do you think Kalonzo has asked for 10 days off to reflect?
He asked for 10 days off?
Yes.
So even he did not believe in that decision he made yesterday, it appears. If you decided, you need to think about it.
In your own thinking, do you think Gideon Moi can disagree with Kenyatta?
No, and of course people are wondering why Gideon. I think Gideon Moi is just there for moral support, and also there were beliefs that he's probably there on behalf of President Kenyatta, just to keep an eye and support his brother.
Can I break you the news, the legs? Politics of brokerage. Term it that way. And that's the new term. Matsaga always brings the new terms here. Brokerage politics. It's brokerage. There is no politics here. Brokerage. It reaches to Kindiki, brokerage. It reaches to Kalonzo, brokerage. We are doing brokerage. We are not doing faithfulness. The only deal that is straightforward is Martha Karua versus... Martha Karua is not rich. Martha Karua does not bring stolen money into Raila's little money that he's using at the friends. Martha Karua brings in the experience that she has on her own, and the woman is fought. Hallelujah! Wacha tuambiane ukweli. All women, if you don't vote, do you know, have you looked at the voting? How many voters are women in Kenya?
Yeah, they are quite. And before you joined, Doc, I was sharing with Gladwell earlier. Yesterday, when I went home, I called my mother to talk to her about some things. But the first thing she said, she was very fast, very, very excited, and I wondered why are you so excited? She said, Raila has made the most wise decision. Back in the village, they were rooting for Martha Karua. I said, why? Because I was really shocked. And she had her reasons as to why, not just because she was a woman, but because she's somebody who stands firm and all these things. And so I said, okay, that is interesting. I did not expect that. But yeah, they're happy that, Raila chose Martha Karua as his running mate. That was a surprise to me.
Out of 21 million voters, I'm breaking news. Women consist of 13.7 million voters of Kenya. Calculate the percentage. Sasa tuambiane. The richest is 21 million. 13.7 million are women, and about 60% are youth, younger ladies. The Gladwell Kiragu, the Miriam Ogutu, younger mothers, younger youth, single working women, married women, the old total, the younger generation, again take away 60.3% youth. The rest are Asimatanga, the sunset goers. Imekuwa sasa kama kwa 13 hii kama mzee anangoa 9 only 9 million ya vote ya wanawake. Are we not home? If Miriam's mom can be facilitated and she votes.
Oh, how she votes? How she does not need facilitation. She takes her civic duty very seriously.
And other people, Kiragu goes out. We go out. This, we have selected the non-candidates. And Azimio, get out of these meetings of Ruto, of meeting Kalonzo again. Let's go to the Mashinani. Now we convince to seal loopholes. And tell our people, come and vote peacefully and go home. Haven't I done a good campaign there, Miriam? I don't know why these days you are looking, when you look that way, you scare me. Is that a point or not? Let's go and vote. Let's seal the loopholes of communication, messaging. We start messaging now. We are not doing bulk messaging for our people to stand. And Raila Baba, this is the final time that when time comes, an alligator comes out of the water and tells you the crocodile is dead, you better start running. Have you got it, Gladwell? An alligator comes from the water and tells you the crocodile is dead. What do? Do you stand there and go to the water to check? Gladwell?
No, you run.
So where do you run to? To your house?
To the safest place, of course.
Thank you very much. Take it anti-African saying. These guys know the matter is cooked. The one Kenya Kwanza, they know is cooked. They also make the same mistake by promising Mudavadi a prime ministership or minister, chief minister. It is falling to pieces with Malala saying, this was a very bad deal we went in. Because in the Western, things are changing. Said, Allah, who you look, Raila has come out and given Wycliffe Ombati, the governor of Oparanya. Wycliffe Oparanya has been given a directing post. That is okay. That is something that can pull the people back. But you cannot say a speaker who is chosen by all, the speakers are chosen by who? By all parties in the parliament, isn't it? So how do you give me something unless I have the majority, which ODM will have the majority? ODM will sweep the majority under the Azimio. But now we have seen the other one is chicken without feathers, and the other one is chicken with feathers. Oh, we have taken the feathers. The Waluya have taken the feathers. In Gohokwaru, so kama fumbwe. We've taken the feathers. Miriam, good morning.
All right, good morning, and that is where we end our show.
No, that's not where we end. We are saying, I was only greeting you because there is a point that I wanted to raise. I was only talking to you that so many things. Don't close it too early. It's 33 minutes. I know you have been here longer than me, but the truth now is you grab your laptop and find out from the IEBC, anything registered in the IEBC is recorded. There is nothing of Kalonzo there. Kalonzo has just faked us. Ametumaliza na ukora. That you cannot issue a certificate. You cannot issue a certificate of Wiper when a Wiper is locked up in another coalition. How? And then if that is so, why is Gideon Moi? He was in the KICC, then ran out and I went to Karen. Why? And why is the Secretary General of Kano, Salat, who signed the documents, is still in with Raila Amolo Odinga? Can't you say there is something that we are being confused? There's something strange. Either is brokerage, the politics of brokerage. Can I do a takeaway?
All right, very well. And I think there's also a possibility, judging from the pattern, that Kalonzo might make another U-turn and come back. It will not be surprising.
No. Oh, you have preempted what I was going to say.
Judging from the pattern, the past behavior, yeah.
It's coming back. I'm telling you, he has asked for 10 days to come back, Miriam. So if Raila wants to accept
I love the way he makes this U-turn without feeling some level of, because I would be embarrassed.
Yeah, but when
but I guess it's just politics.
When you are doing the politics of brokerage, you don't feel embarrassed.
I can't show my face, but he will show his face. I can almost bet on that. Yeah. It's just not bad.
For you can't.
Bad.
For you can't, but for them, they can. Politicians
it's politics, yeah. With
Africa,
no shame.
have no shame.
No shame. You speak that
You
yesterday,
remember,
make a turnaround and say something completely different, and it's just normal. Okay.
You remember the MP of British Parliament, the lady who was found watching porn. She came out on national television and said, it's true, I was watching porn instead of representing the people, and I'm very sorry, I've resigned. You saw her recently, 2 weeks ago. She resigned because there was a report. You see, for newspapers to release a report in Britain, they have seen the CCTV, you watching porn. You know, in Parliament, there is CCTV, even in the office. So when you watch this porn, it is watching there and say you, Allah, this man is watching porn instead of making presentation. The woman came and said, I was watching porn, and I'm sorry. And I've resigned. I've left the government. At the Parliament, let there be a by-election. And a by-election in the UK is held within 21 days. And the voters are already registered, so you don't need to run around Chebukati way. So let me do a takeaway. Kalonzo's hop step and a jump and a retreat strategy indicates quite a lot of difficulties for political parties in Africa. Kalonzo's decisions or capacity to make decisions seem to have diminished. A well-organized lawyer, educated lawyer, but every time he makes his decisions, he leaves room for saying he was not aware. For all this time, the people of Kenya have been treated to the drama of not aware. not aware. But above all, this compounds the situation, the question that I have been talking about for a long time, that the state of Kenya is full of brokerage. The politics of brokerage in Kenya seem to have overtaken the politics of principles. That every time someone wants to become a member, wants to know the route, wants to be part of the parcel, wants to get a job, there is a situation where there is a brokerage. So if we continue with the type of brokerage that we have today, there is likelihood of a situation where the state is compromised, MPs are compromised, the judiciary is compromised, and above all, the parliament itself is compromised, and the executive would end up to be compromised as an executive of brokerage. Therefore, the politics of brokerage is what has killed, and that continues to kill Kilonzo. Every time he is making agreements, some of the agreements that are not even well known, some of them that we don't know which they are, some of them that are obnoxious, and we are only told that I had an MOU. Some of them, which MOU we don't see, but we only see it at the last minute when there is a dispute in court. So is there a way that Kenya can save itself from Kalonzo's politics of brokering? That is my take. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that. And please don't go too far. We shall be back on the top of the hour with another conversation. Don't go too far. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Good morning.
Thank you.